Today, Saturday and Sunday. Today, Saturday and Sunday. But why today, tomorrow? Tomorrow holiday.
Welcome back to My Beloved Thailand. Before we begin today's journey, a brief editorial note. This video is an original non-fictional travel documentary filmed on location in Bangkok. It explores local street food culture, small business dynamics, and human stories in full compliance with YouTube community guidelines and advertiser-friendly policies. In Bangkok, the pulse of the city doesn't beat in air-conditioned shopping malls or corporate high-rises. It lives in the soil, the endless network of narrow alleyways, where local life unfolds at its own pace. Among these alleys, Ploy Sai beverage culture far more than quick refreshment stops. They are vital community anchors where office workers, delivery riders, and neighborhood residents exchange daily greetings over bags of iced Thai tea and fresh coffee. One thing I've learned after spending so much time in Bangkok is that people don't always return to the same places because of the coffee. Sometimes they return because of the person serving it. For me, that person was Ploy Sai. Every time I stay in Bangkok, there's one place I end up visiting almost every morning. Not a famous cafe, not some trendy coffee shop filled with influencers taking photos of latte art. Just a simple roadside coffee store. The kind of place most tourists would walk past without noticing. I first met Ploy Sai about 4 years ago. Back then, she wasn't famous. She wasn't appearing in travel videos. Nobody was making YouTube documentaries about her. She was simply a cheerful young woman selling coffee on a Bangkok sidewalk. But she had something that many businesses spending millions trying to create. A genuine smile. Every morning, office workers stopped by her store before work. Construction workers, taxi drivers, students, delivery riders, and somehow she managed to greet every single one of them with the same bright energy. Over time, I became a regular. Not because her coffee was dramatically better than every other coffee in Bangkok, but because she always seemed genuinely happy to see me. And when you spend enough time alone in a foreign city, small things start becoming surprisingly meaningful. A familiar face, a familiar greeting, someone remembering your unusual order. Those things matter more than people realize. But time changes everything. At some point, YouTube discovered her. And suddenly, the quiet little coffee store became famous. Every time I visited, more people seemed to be standing around. And little by little, something changed. Maybe it was inevitable. Maybe it only existed in my imagination. But her attention toward me felt different. Less personal, less focused, less special. The smile was still there, but it was now distributed among dozens of people instead of a handful. And honestly, I couldn't blame her. Success changes the environment around you. When hundreds of people want your attention, it's impossible to treat everyone the same way forever. Still, I would be lying if I said it didn't bother me. This morning was one of those mornings. I left my hotel early and walked straight toward our store. The same route I had taken countless times before. When I arrived, she was already busy preparing for the day, setting up tables, organizing supplies. Our eyes briefly met and she recognized me, but almost immediately she returned to her work. No long conversation, no special greeting, nothing. And standing there, I suddenly realized something uncomfortable. To her, I had become one more customer. Maybe I had simply convinced myself I was special. The realization left me feeling strangely disappointed. Because the main reason I kept returning wasn't the coffee anymore. It was the feeling, the smile, the familiarity. And if that feeling was gone, then suddenly Bangkok's thousands of other coffee shops became options again. After finishing some work later that morning, I found myself walking through the city. Despite feeling disappointed, I couldn't stop thinking about Ploy Sai. But the weather was brutal. The kind of Bangkok heat that seemed to wrap around your entire body. So I started looking for somewhere cool to escape the heat. That's when I noticed a small cafe. But for some reason, I hesitated before entering, and the reason felt ridiculous. It almost felt like I was betraying Ploy Sai. As if visiting another coffee shop somehow made me disloyal. Still, it was too hot to keep standing outside, so eventually I walked in. I approached the counter without really paying attention. In my mind, I was still thinking about the morning, still thinking about Ploy Sai. Then I finally looked at the person behind the counter. And suddenly, my train of thought derailed completely. Because standing there was a friendly young employee smiling at me brightly. A genuinely warm smile. Not a customer service smile. And for a split second, it felt strangely familiar. Almost like being transported 4 years into the past. Back to the version of Ploy Sai before fame, before crowds, before YouTube. And suddenly, I became aware of my own heartbeat. Funny how quickly the human brain moves on. 10 minutes earlier, I had been thinking about one woman. Now, another person was occupying my entire attention. Few minutes later, what I saw genuinely surprised me. Instead of grabbing some pre-made powder, she was carefully preparing the matcha by hand. I honestly hadn't expected that. I assumed this would be a simple cafe serving ordinary drinks. But she seemed determined to make the best version possible. And somehow, that impressed me. As I stood there watching her work, I realized something strange. For the first time all day, I wasn't thinking about Ploy Sai anymore. The disappointment, the nostalgia, the memories. they had all quietly faded into the background. And in their place remained the image of a shy cafe employee carefully grinding matcha for me. We live in an era where hyper-capitalism and digital visibility constantly pressure individuals to monetize every moment, every smile, every skills. Bangkok will continue to modernize with taller skyscrapers and faster digital trends reshaping its landscape every day. Yet the true soul of Thailand doesn't rest in viral fame or commercial scale. It lives in these quiet, unglamorous moments of sincere human dedication. As I left the cafe back into the warm evening air, I carried a silent wish that in a world driven by speed and profit, she may long hold on to that uncorrupted passion and genuine smile, preserving the timeless heart of everyday Thailand.
빠이 프라카노. 아, 그렇구나.